Good morning, good afternoon, good day, everybody. Hi, I'm Steve Farrell, and I am coming to you live from our HumanityStream studio here in Boulder, Colorado. And look who I have here with me today. Boy, this is going to be an exciting program. Suzanne Giesemann. Suzanne's coming in live from, where are you coming in live from today, Suzanne?
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Beautiful, beautiful place to be.
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Boy, and if you've ever been up there, you know how beautiful that is. Eagles flying around and just absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, so great to have you with us. And a big shout out to everybody that's tuning in here. I'm going to wave because I can see some of you on camera that are here, HumanityStream Plus members, that you're on camera. There you go. I can see you waving back. And it's fun, to have people here with us live. So Suzanne and I aren't just talking to the camera, but of course the camera is many of you too, Humanity's team members, HumanityStream members, those of you out on Meta, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Suzanne Giesemann's friends, right, and the Awakened Way community, etc. So also the Sign Network, Sign.network, that's John Raymer and his wife Summer that are broadcasting out to like 100 sites out on social media. So welcome everybody. Great to have you with us. And we have such an exciting program, packed program here during the hour because there's so much that we want to tell you about. And the title of today's program, of course, is Leading the Way Toward Oneness. So isn't that interesting? So we're going to be talking about that, of course. Okay, let me give Suzanne a proper introduction here as we get going. Suzanne Giesemann is a spiritual teacher, author, and verified or evidential medium who has been recognized on the Watkins list of the 100 most spiritually influential living people. A former Navy commander with a master's degree in national security affairs, she served as a commanding officer and aide to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's a big wow. She now shares the Awakened Way, a path to living a consciously connected and divinely guided life. Suzanne has authored 13 books, 6 best-selling HumanitySync records, and hosts a YouTube channel with over 90,000 subscribers and millions of views each year. She produces the Daily Way inspirational messages, the Awakened Way app, and hosts the top-ranking Messages of Hope podcast. Yeah, welcome again, Suzanne. Boy, just so much fun stuff to talk about. Thank you for being here live with me today.
It's always a pleasure, Steve. And I love that we can see some people live. What thrilled me was your big smiles. Sometimes when people watch Zoom meetings, they're kind of bored, but everybody has this beautiful smile. What a joy.
Yes, they do. Yeah, look at that. A big smile across the Zoomscape here. So really fun to be with everybody. Okay, let me just share a few things as we get started. First of all, there's this one book out that came out this year. It's called The Awakened Way, Making the Shift to a Divinely Guided Life. Okay, that's Hay House, an extraordinary book. We're going to talk about it. Suzanne was just sharing with me, there's a brand new book coming out next week. It's on mediumship, Tuesday the 22nd. It's available. It's actually available now for pre-order. If you go to Suzanne's site, there it is, mediumship. So brand new book coming out next week. And Suzanne, what is your website? You're giving away this incredible gift where they can be part of a channeling if they enter their receipt numbers. So where do they go to do that?
That's right, pretty easy. It's just my name, SuzanneGiesemann.com, and there's you can scroll down and see the announcement about the new book, Mediumship. If you click that and go to the books page, if you pre-order the book on any of the online sites, you just get your receipt number, go back to the book page and enter it, and we'll send you a link to a thank you, which is an online live channeling session that I'm going to do for the whole group who pre-ordered. I'll bring my guides through for an extended channeling session on a date in November. It's on the page. I can't remember exactly which date it is, but even if you can't attend live, you'll have that link and be able to participate and feel the energy. That's always pretty profound.
Fantastic. Yes, it is. So, boy, be sure to check that out. That sounds like an incredible offer. So, okay, we're going to talk about the, this oneness, right? And living, really understanding we have a soul and living from that soul connection and so on. So Suzanne, you got a crazy calendar now. You and Ty, your husband, travel the country and the world with these messages. So what is the, for those that maybe can't tune in at all, or others that tune in, but it feels a little, there's not the level of clarity, I'll call it, that they might like, from this this soul that is that dwells within us, and this connection to this whole afterlife and each other and the earth. So let me just start there. For people that either can't get there at all or find it challenging to really come into the fullness of it, what things do you share, Suzanne?
I love that you started out by talking about oneness, Steve, because I didn't understand what oneness was before I learned that there is a greater reality. When my stepdaughter Susan died, I had this mission to connect with her. My Navy background made me very mission oriented. And so I made a commitment to sit quietly every day and just still my mind as much as possible and set a very clear intention to connect with Susan across the veil. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how that would unfold, but that was my clear intention. And I had a very strong belief that I would one day be successful. Those turned out to be the two keys for any of us connecting with non-physical beings at any level. And it took me several years, 3 years, till I actually had a super clear encounter with Susan in meditation. But in the meantime, I started to connect with other people's loved ones and get verifiable information from their family members here that, yes, I was connecting with them. So that was the key, opening the mind through belief and then sitting quietly with a focus on noticing what stands out from our normal thoughts. And what that showed me is there really is a connection to other beings that goes beyond the physical body. That's the oneness. So there are many ways we can describe oneness, through metaphors, through things we see in nature, but mediumship is the way that it shows me, and I share it with others, that we really are connected energetically through consciousness. We truly are one mind experiencing life through various lenses.
Yeah, boy, no kidding. And isn't it wonderful that science is starting to catch up? So where science is coming in and affirming these things, this entanglement thing, Nobel Prize for Physics 2022, 3 researchers, entanglement, where they're saying, well, there's no physical connection at all, but they're deeply affecting each other. And we can even be out on different sides of the universe, and yet this is happening, which is kind of bringing the Albert Einstein unified field thing in, another term that could be used here as we're talking about oneness. But, in some ways it's not even so crazy because, of course, we know we deeply affect each other now. So that's not some big revelation. There's no physical connection, but we can feel how we're deeply affecting each other now. And science is coming with this, quantum physics in particular, saying, yes, it's true, down at an atomic level, protons, atoms, electrons, it's there. There's a vibrational universe.
May I add something to that?
Please do, yeah.
May I add something to that? I'm so glad you brought up that entanglement experiment that won the Nobel Prize. It showed that one proton here and another one reacted similarly, instantaneously, no time lag. I've heard some mediums talk about the fact that when we tune into loved ones across the veil, it's an electromagnetic signal, like radio wave. But it's actually instantaneous because we're already connected, like those protons or photons, the subatomic particles, whatever they were entangled. We are entangled with all beings beyond space and time. So it's not like radio waves. It's not electromagnetic. Beyond space and time, we're already connected. So it's just really important to understand that's why the connection is possible, because we are physical beings, but we are also beings beyond space and time.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that in. Yeah, I mean, beyond space and time. So different sides of the universe and immediate, not any time lag, just immediate effect. Which is the oneness. And let me share too, for some of you know Suzanne, you're familiar with her work. For those of you that aren't, oh my God, it's jaw-dropping. This, she calls herself an evidential medium. There's a whole category, evidential medium or verified medium, where there's evidence that is given that can be checked out, and that Suzanne does. And sure enough, the evidence comes in, and then these things are revealed that are just absolutely jaw-dropping. I've had the opportunity to be a part of many of these with Suzanne, and it's extraordinary where we understand it's almost like there's a living room set up parallel to us, the afterlife, these non-physical beings that are all right there, and enjoy having a little cup of tea, and where we can learn to communicate with them, and Suzanne makes that not too difficult at all. It's extraordinary what they bring in, where we can have this divinely guided life. Huh, Suzanne, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, Steve. To me, the evidence is so important because we're trying to let folks who are not so in touch with their soul, which is right here, understand that we are souls here and now. So we have to approach them through the logic first to awaken the soul. And the evidence does that. It helps the logical brain say, well, there's no way the medium could have known that. So an example of evidence would be a reading that I did just last week for a woman who she actually spoke a language called Gujarati, and she's Indian, and her son had to be there to translate the reading. And I proved that language is no barrier because I was communicating with her husband across the veil instantaneously and bringing through evidence. For example, she gave me permission to share this. I silently asked him, because he was right in my awareness, what kind of work did you do? Because that's going to be good evidence. I don't know. And he showed me exchanging money with customers, selling things. I said, your husband is showing me he was a merchant. She said, yes, he was. So I asked him, what did you sell? And he showed me an image. It flashed very briefly in my mind, but it looked like blankets stacked up, white blankets. I described exactly what I was seeing, and her son, who was translating, he laughed and he said, those are newspapers. He had a newsstand. So can't you see how this dad across the veil tried to send me this image, and that's how I perceived it, but they knew what he was trying to say. But Steve, the most beautiful evidence of all was when the dad and the husband across the veil made this motion like this, and I knew soul to soul what he was communicating. I said to his wife, your husband's showing me that if he shaved, you would have the hairs on the counter, and he's showing me sweeping them up, and he says, you have them. This woman just about came out of her chair. She said, I asked him to tell you that, in her accent. She collected his hair and kept it after he passed. And she asked him before the reading, please, if this is you, talk to Suzanne about that. I wasn't reading her mind. He literally showed me and let me know she has that. That's the oneness. That's the evidence that we are connected across dimensions.
Yeah, that is, and then I've heard so many of these extraordinary stories, including where somebody lost a loved one, a suicide, and then, boy, they came in though bigger than life with, hey, I'm not gone, I'm here, and talking about the afterlife. It's just extraordinary. Okay, so let me, again, there's so many things we want to tell you about here during the hour. So let's just kind of go sequentially here. On Friday, as I mentioned here just a bit ago, our Spiritual Leadership Award Ceremony. Okay, we don't even do these every year. The 13th one, and we're 21 years old, the 13th ceremony is Friday, and 3 o'clock Mountain, okay, that's 2 Pacific, that's 5 p.m. Eastern. We're live streaming our 2024 Spiritual Leadership Award Ceremony. We're giving it to Suzanne. And Suzanne is so incredibly worthy of this award. Boy, it's just because, yes, this incredible mediumship, but this oneness, this awakened way, this divinely guided life, all of these things, Suzanne is walking in all over the world. And she has a way, I believe we've talked about this a little bit because of her left brain past, I'll call it, chief of staff to in the military, where she can explain things and share things, and it just feels very grounded. So she has this massive audience that's growing all over the world. and explaining to them what people really need to understand now. It's time we awaken, and Suzanne is one of the big awakening agents. So we're just thrilled to be giving Suzanne our 2024 Spiritual Leadership Award. Tune in, put this on your calendar. You can go to humanitystream.org with a Y, humanitystream.org, and you'll see links and stuff. Or if you're getting our emails, you'll get links to come into the program. We're live streaming that. So 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern, join us on Friday for that ceremony. You'll be glad you did. Then, the very next day, the Global Oneness Summit starts, Saturday, the 19th, and it's a 6-day summit. It's free. Suzanne has 2 programs that are part of this year's Global Oneness Summit. It's our 15th annual. The United Nations is looking at putting this on their calendar, so isn't that going to be cool, like Earth Day or International Day of Peace. So Suzanne's programs are our Common Sentience Spiritual Communication. She's on a panel. And then she's on a one-on-one, Oneness Beyond the Veil. So those are 2 programs. That's part of the 15th Annual Global Oneness Summit. It's a 6-day free summit. Again, on humanitystream.org, you can go and register. It's a free program. And be sure to catch Suzanne's programs there. So, and then Suzanne has created all of these incredible master classes and transformational education programs. I'm going to just name them real quick, and we're going to look at some video segments. We actually have 4. I don't know if we're going to have time to share all 4, but let me name these so you can see, be aware of these incredible programs she's created for the Humanities Team platform. It's called HumanityStream Plus. That's at humanitystream.net. HumanityStream Plus. We're the largest global streaming platform today for consciousness raising, master classes, and transformational education. Okay, so Suzanne has these programs on this platform. Unlocking the Intelligence of the Afterlife. That's a masterclass with Dr. Eben Alexander and Karen Newell. Your Emerging Soul. Cosmic Forces Shaping a Whole New Future. That's with Patricia Cota Robles. Making the Connection. Personal Mediumship Plus. Let Your Spirit Soar. And our newest program on HumanityStream Plus called Connect with Spirit. And then there's a free program. If you're part of HumanityStream Plus, check out those programs. Stephanie and I have been through most of them. They're incredible. They will teach you to be a bridge to the afterlife, to your loved ones, to your angels, to your guides, and more. So these are serious programs in today's world where awakening is the big thing, right? Barbara Marx Hubbard said this is the one generation. Oneness is really coming to the fore. So check those out. And then if you want to just try something free, be sure to check out Staying Connected to the After. Let's see here. Sorry, it's called Connecting with the Spirit World. And that's a new program, a new free program Suzanne and I created this year. Connecting with the Spirit World. It's a free program. You'll find it on the humanitystream.org website. It tells you a little bit about all of these programs here. So I would check them all out myself. The free program, the master classes, and so on. Suzanne, you cover so much ground, I wouldn't even want you to try and synthesize and summarize. But do you want to just say a few things about these extraordinary programs you've created?
I do, Steve, and that is that I am not what people would call a born medium. I had no idea there was a greater reality. I never saw a spirit. I never even knew there was a soul. I was raised with no religion. I was a military officer. But when my stepdaughter died, that changed everything for me. And the meditative practice that I began opened me to all of these realities that we are part of. So every one of my courses assumes that others don't have any background in this. So I take you from ground zero to how to connect, but it's up to each person how committed they are to opening themselves to the greater reality. But it's an awesome journey. So with my very left brain background, I really look at how is this possible and what makes it possible. And I try to put it in as simple terms as possible with steps and processes and systems. So that's the left brain side that honors that part of us, but then we activate the right brain side and bring the two together. And it's that balance that opens us up. Opens anybody to a beautiful connection.
Yeah, let me share. So in our home, of course, we get to work with this incredible faculty like Suzanne, and Suzanne has several processes which we'll talk about briefly here during the hour. One of them is called the Bless Me method. So, and just as a student that's learned this and with unreal kinds of ramifications, so I'll give you the Bless Me. So B is breathe, L is lift, E is expand, S is surrender, the second S is shift, the M is merge, and the E is experience. So that's it. That's the Bless Me method. There's a process, just like Suzanne said. So where you actually go through a process and you can feel it, okay, boom, this one's in, now I go to the next one, lift. This one's in, now I go to expand, right? This one's in. So it's just a step by step by step process. And by the time you get to experience, the E on Bless Me, I'll tell you, you were there. I've talked to my dad, my sister, my grandmother. I never even tried to reach out to my grandmother. I was reaching out once and my grandmother came in and was like, wow, this is something. And she had a very important message for me. And then I have angels and guides all the time, with the work I'm doing of, let's focus on this and this is important. And where I'm not sure of something, and this is the whole point that Suzanne makes, why walk around without a compass and a guide? Just kind of trying to, with a blindfold on, trying to walk through life. Well, here you have all this, that wasn't the intent, is what Suzanne shares. You've got angels, guides, all of this on the other side that are here to just kind of, here's the roadmap and provide gentle guidance and, keep us on the path and so on. Why would we not avail ourselves of those things, right? So I do all the time, and it's incredible how the auto steering, I'll call it, autonomous driving, or autonomous living, where you've just got all of this afterlife that's guiding your path. It's extraordinary. Do you want to say a word about this stuff, Suzanne?
It's exactly what you just said, Steve. When we don't realize that we have help, we're not listening for it, we're not aware of it when it happens. Our guides, our helpers are putting thoughts in our head all the time, but they sound like our own thoughts until we establish an interactive two-way relationship with them. So it's so much better than just, I thought I had this thought, I think I'll act on that, to having a helper tell you, hey, don't do this or do that. I mean, just to keep things light, Steve. I was in Boulder last weekend to be recorded on Gaia TV. 2 weekends in a row, I get to enjoy beautiful Boulder. But I was getting ready to go to the studio, and I was showered, getting dressed. My guides clearly said, don't put your shirt on yet. And I thought, well, that's strange. But I've learned to listen. And I said, okay, so I didn't. And I opened my makeup container, and because you're at 5,000 feet, it burped, and the makeup spit out. Now,
oh my gosh.
That was very practical help. And I heard it as a voice of a helper, not just, maybe I shouldn't put my shirt on yet. It may sound silly, but this is how life can be. This guided, flowing, helpful companionship all the time, to realize we're not alone. There are helpful beings that want to make your life easier. And if you learn to work with them, imagine how your life will flow.
Yeah, boy, that what a great, that's unreal, that example. Yeah, I haven't had anything quite like, I probably have if I thought about it, but certainly just with all of the things we're doing in HumanityStream, there's so much guidance that's come in that's important. We don't really have time to be hitting banana peels and sliding off in some crazy direction. We need to, maintain the course in a prioritized way. And boy, I get guidance all the time that's extraordinary, that helps with that. Okay, let's go to one of the video clips. Yeah, oh, sure, please.
Oh, very quickly, the left brain Navy officer in me wrote out an outline for my acceptance speech Friday, but my guides had a better idea. They awoke me at 3 a.m. and they said, trash that, we have better ideas. So
right.
This is the way it is to be divinely guided. And it's so much better. And I'm so excited. And So I hope people will join us. But that's the really helpful part, right? That everything is better when you go higher.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, so again, that's 3 Mountain, 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern on Friday. So likewise, I'll share, we have created this extraordinary precision wording for the award that just, it'll lift you up. But I was guided similarly of, nope, not this time, Steve. I know it is extraordinary language, and I can do it, teleprompter, so it looks just like straight to everybody. But it was, no, we're gonna just stay in an outline. You're just gonna let your heart soar here, and just kind of, and take Suzanne and the whole audience through it. So I'm doing the same thing and really looking forward to it. Okay, so that's Friday. So, all right, let's go take a look at one of the video clips here, and then we're gonna come back and talk about it.
Our goal here is to help you increase your happiness quotient by tapping into the intelligence within you, by showing how you are already connected to the greatest source of joy, which is my name for God, Source, which is all right here and available to you. So success, failures, anything that goes on in the outer world that's filled with its ups and downs, they come and go. But this inner peace and joy and happiness is always within you and can be increased exponentially with practice, with tools, and with information. So that's my goal for you here, to show you how you are already connected to this source of all happiness, all peace, all contentment. It's your birthright because it's who you are. And once you tap into that, you realize that the afterlife is part of the ongoing life of all of us. Life for me is an acronym. It stands for Love in Full Expression. And that's what and who you are. Love is a lack of separation. That means everything's connected. Think about a time when you fell in love with someone, whether it's a human or a beloved pet. Didn't you feel a total connection with them? We call that in human terms love, but at your most essential level, at the soul, you're already connected to all that is. That is oneness.
Boy, that's beautiful. Yeah, and I love this joy, love, grace and peace, all these things that are what the oneness is, which is what if we want to use spiritual terms, God is, or the divine is. It is all of that, just the highest vibration in light and love and so on. I love that you're putting those words to it, and because some people go in the spiritual direction, others don't, but love and joy and these things, yes. Everybody says, I want those things. Let me in.
It's very important to understand that this doesn't mean when we go down this path that our life is perfect. I definitely hit bumps in the road, and I have times when I just want to rant and rave, but it stands out so much in contrast to the underlying essence that becomes who we are most of the time, that we very quickly can go back to that state. We now have tools to get back in the center again. So don't think that this means all of life is going to be fabulous. We came here for all of it, but we can handle it much better with these tools.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I say the same thing. It's challenges don't go away, and sometimes they're even bigger. But just how we deal with those challenges, and how we go through our life. This word flow, is so perfect because it kind of like we're in a flow. It's almost like you were on a raft, instead of, if I were going to compare it to my earlier years growing up, which was more roller coastery, boy, today's really a bad day, or, oh, today's a really good day, kind of up and down and all over. It's more kind of in a flow, and it's much easier to deal with challenges in a flow than on the roller coaster, especially when we're on the downside of that roller coaster. Yeah. Okay, let's go look at another clip here.
They will help you unfailingly. Work with them. How? Use the Bless Me method if you want to go into a nice expanded state of consciousness, and ask them any question. It's like having a genie in a bottle. They will answer you if it serves your greatest good. If there's a lesson you need to learn yourself, you may not get an answer, because we learn through our choices, but they will help you to understand that free and open feeling when you get a yes, and the gut clench, the heart clench when there's a no. How else might they speak to you besides through your body? They could get your attention with a book, with a billboard. There could simply be a knowing. You might hear their guidance like thoughts. They want you to know that all of our brilliant thoughts are not always our own. They're put there. They bubble up from your guides, but we often take credit for that. Give credit where it's due. How do you know if this came from a guide? Ask them for signs. I remember having a beautiful experience in meditation. I said, Boris, I know you just gave me that information, but what sign will you give me to validate that that really happened, that this was real and I can trust it and I can act on it? And he popped in my mind's eye the image of a watermelon. Now, we had not bought watermelon in a long time. We had no plans to go to the grocery store, so I thought, okay, it's going to be really interesting to see if a watermelon comes up in my awareness this day. I went through the whole day, didn't even leave the house all day. That evening, my husband very uncharacteristically went for a walk after dark. Uncharacteristically for me, I decided to watch a little TV program on my iPad, because we normally don't watch TV, usually reading and writing and working on projects. So I just browsed through the internet, and I found a version of 2020, the detective type show, the news reporting show, and I tuned into a program that just caught my eye. I had no idea I was being guided moment by my guides, and that's how it works. Set the intention that they will guide you to whatever is in your greatest good, and they will, but you have to remain open and present and follow the snags. Well, I was snagged by this program. Not 5 minutes into it, this reporter said, well, if you're familiar with our town, you'd know that it's the watermelon capital of the United States. I about fell off my chair. Not only did he say it once, he proceeded to show pictures of watermelons and the watermelon painted on the tower and newspaper articles with the watermelon seed spitting contest. I was rolling with laughter and thanking Boris for that beautiful validation. That was him, all right.
Wow, that is amazing. And I've heard these stories so many times over the years. You know, this is what evidential mediumship is again, you know. The watermelon thing that then verifies all of what is shared. You know, boy, we better, you know, there's some guidance here that we want to pay attention to, because it's verified or evidence that comes in here right at the start. Let me just show here, if you can see in the top, I'm not sure you can see this, the top left, it's called the Awakened Way app. It's a free app. Yeah, and I read them every day. So this is Suzanne Giesemann's, her app. She's got somebody, I think it was in South Africa, that came in and partnered with her to create this application that brings in this oneness and soul's calling and all of this whole beautiful way to live, the Awakened Way. So I invite people to check that out. Okay, so let me just throw a question at you here, Suzanne. We've kind of talked to this a little bit, but how are greatest levels of peace, joy, love, and contentment to be found within, and how is it possible to increase these levels exponentially?
Again, it comes from the commitment that bubbles up from the soul, that you know there's something more and you want to be part of it, and the commitment to being aware of your thoughts and using a practice daily, such as, I'm sure you were going to talk about this, my sip of the divine. I go into that in detail in a very short video on YouTube, Sip of the Divine. which is simply 3 minutes a day. If people truly want to get in contact with their higher self and other beings, all it takes is a commitment, 3 minutes a day, to sit quietly, ask one question, and notice what goes on in the mind. This practice alone will train you in focus. It will bring you more peace throughout the day because you're creating space. The benefits are phenomenal. And I love that there are no excuses for not being able to spare those 3 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Actually, I find myself running to my daily practice, not running away, running toward, because where I do these things, bringing in this kind of thing, sip of the divine, bless me, what am I trying to reach for? Where I'm actually peering into the future. I can see the future that's unfolding, and just feeling it, tasting it, touching it, knowing that's what's coming, which is healing, which is health, which is well-being. It's all of these things, which is what this awakened way is about. It's awakening from the sense of separation that was never true, right? Just like in Galileo's time, the Earth was not the center of the universe at all. Now we're realizing, oh my God, I thought I was separate from everything. There was no connection. And now, in my daily practice, where I'm living in that connection, communing with the one, so to speak, and kind of seeing and feeling that future that we're creating together, it's extraordinary. Do you want to talk a little bit about you probably have do all of these things, sip of the divine. You probably have lots of your own daily practices. Suzanne, do you want to talk about them?
Yes, well, it really began the week that my stepdaughter died. I'm going to sit quietly, connect with her. And now I can't imagine my life without starting my day that way, because it's so easy to forget we are souls and get drawn into the human drama and think this is all there is. So that time of sitting quietly and totally putting my focus on the greater reality, on the self beyond our story, is sacred. So, and my husband knows how important it is to me. So we get up every day, we immediately walk the dogs, then we make the bed together, and then the dogs escort me into this room where I meditate. And it could last 10 minutes or 40 minutes. It doesn't have to last for hours, but I commune with my team in spirit. I ask if there's anything I need to know. And then my guides, Sanaya, give me a beautiful message for whoever is drawn to hear it. And that's what, when I come out of meditation, I post on my website, on social media, and for the Awaken Way app that you mentioned. So there are about 6,000 beautiful messages that apply to all of us, because we're all souls on this journey together in that app and on my website. So I start the day by connecting, and then during the day, I'll probably, if I have time, do a reading for someone. I'm still working through a 5-year waiting list, but also just being inspired by spirit moment by moment. What's next? I have so many projects going, but I no longer even keep to-do lists. Spirit guides me and tells me, do a little of this now. Now take a break. They're like the greatest managers possible, and it makes life so much easier. And then ending the day with gratitude is always a beautiful part of anyone's practice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Gratitude, the elevator that's there all day long. Just being thankful for all of the life. I mean, life is so extraordinary. I love your. You brought this in earlier, life, love in full expression, love in full expression. And one of the things in there in the Awakened Way just in the last month was, basically we're in our story. Wherever it's something other than the fullness of love and full expression, that's the thing that is eternal. That's the thing that is timeless. That's the one ultimate reality. And where we're in the fullness of that, we're there. And where we're living in something else, we're living in our story. It's quite an invitation there, actually.
Well, Steve, you said something you didn't know that just snagged me, and I want to expand on it. You said gratitude, the elevator. And I know you meant the elevator of consciousness, but let me just give all of you tuned in now a wonderful tool to elevate your consciousness. And that's to picture your physical body and your spirit body like an elevator. And the other day I was lying in bed ruminating about some issue I had with another person that was causing me a lot of angst. I just couldn't get past it. I'd had a bad dream. I was in a bad state for myself, didn't like how I was feeling. And all of a sudden the guide said, get the elevator out of the basement, move it to the heart. And I just used that imagery after that big aha to raise awareness right here. Immediately felt right back in balance. The whole story and all the angst just dropped away. I had to laugh because that's what happens. We get stuck in the lower energy centers in our field, but with intention and awareness, we can move to the heart and just stay there while we're living our stories. But when I connect in a reading, when I channel, the elevator goes up to the penthouse and beyond. So that imagery will really help you to realize that we're constantly shifting up and down in our awareness, but we can control that as well.
Yeah, and the penthouse is a good place to go to, that higher vibration spot, in gratitude in its fullness. Yeah, so beautiful. And the Awakened Way talks about this too. I remember back in the last 6 months, one just on this topic. So beautiful. Okay, let's go to another video clip here. We've seen two. We're going to go to the third one now.
I remember being in a phone store, getting a new smartphone. Anybody who's ever done that knows how painful of a process it is, as you have to switch over all your data from one phone to another. As I was sitting there, the store was very crowded. I heard a commotion off to my right. I looked up, and it was a man standing there with his arms crossed, and he said, "Is there anybody here going to give me attention? Isn't anybody here working?" And the manager, who was standing off to the side, said, "Sir, as you can see, we're very busy. We'll get to you as soon as we can, but there are others ahead of you." Well, he continued to spew loud, disharmonious words. And you could feel everybody in the store shrinking into themselves, feeling separate, wanting to be alone. And I decided to put into practice something that my cosmic team had shared with me. The greatest thing we can bring into this world is the presence of love, which is your true nature. So I turned towards him, opened my heart, and not from the Suzanne story, but from soul awareness, connected with his soul. I saw beyond this really adamant, nasty facade and sent love to him, which is connection. The funniest thing happened. He looked over at me because I had locked eyes on him, but in a loving, connected, seeing inside him way. And he said out loud, "What are you doing?" Everybody else is looking away, and very contrary to my human nature, which does not like confrontation at all, but there was nothing to confront here. This was pure flow. I looked at him and I said, "I'm sending love." He looked stunned, and then he got defensive and he said, "I don't need your love." And I looked at him again and I said, "We all need it." Do you know that that man didn't say another word? I went back to working with the tech who was helping me change out my phone. I looked up and I looked at the manager and I said, "Where's that man?" And she said, "I don't know what happened, but he just left." "What did you do?" And I said to her, "I just saw him at the soul level and I sent him love." She said, "Wow, I'm going to have to try that." Can you imagine how our whole world would change if more of us tried that? We're all afraid to shine our light when that's who we are.
Okay, boy, I love that one. That's beautiful. And something here that we've been talking about relating to oneness, which just kind of brings this in, this beautiful example there that you share, Suzanne, is we grow up right with this whole separation thing. So you can, it's easy to walk out even with in our family, our spouse, our kids, certainly with our coworkers and neighbors, and notice that we really do feel separate. There's not a sense of connection or oneness. So we're inviting people to try really going into this space of, no, this is an aspect of me, this is an aspect of me, the earth, the neighbor, yes, the spouse, the kids, the coworkers. Well, that's a beautiful way to see another as an aspect of you. I'm sending you love. That's the most beautiful way to see another as an aspect of you that one could imagine almost. So, gratitude for that teaching there.
I'd forgotten about that, and I'm very grateful that arose naturally to do that. But as I look at it and I watch this program through the eyes of people who are new to this, I couldn't imagine doing that in the past because I hadn't encountered my own soul. I didn't really know the fullness and the wholeness of who we all are. But that was the result of sitting in the silence every day. So please do these practices like the Bless Me method or the Sip of the Divine regularly, and that will be your natural response because you will have discovered your own soul and you'll realize that all souls are connected. So have the personal experience of already being the love that we seek, and then it will just naturally flow from you in situations like that.
Yes, it will. And again, HumanityStream.net. Boy, go to the Suzanne Giesemann collection area, which there are now 7 of her programs. I did watch one of them over and over to really get Bless Me down completely, totally and completely. But it didn't take that much time, And oh my gosh, this is going to add so much to your daily practice where you start bringing in these components to your daily practice. Okay, let me just read a few things from viewers. So somebody called My Soul Wave says, Suzanne, you have changed my entire life. I thank you for everything you have done for my life without you even knowing it. So, and then Kathy Mason, who's a dear friend right here in Boulder, says, I love the Awakened Way app. Boy, she's a big connector, so you probably have got, she's probably walking that around to all of her friends. Terry G says, I'm excited for your new book, Suzanne. So, okay. And I mentioned that at the start of the program for people that came in late. So a book on mediumship coming out next week. It's the 22nd, Tuesday the 22nd is its official published date, but you can pre-order now. And there's the book, and go to SuzanneGiesemann.com. Was that SuzanneGiesemann.com? Suzanne, to get the bonus award with the receipt? Yeah. So, okay, here's a question from the green room. So one of the people right here in the studio with us, Suzanne, she says, how often does Suzanne hear an audible voice as real as her regular hearing to give her direction? So that's an interesting question. An audible voice. So all the Claire words is...
I would say I never hear objectively. That's called objective clairaudience. It's never outside of me. It's still like my own thoughts. When my guides speak and say something like, don't get dressed yet because your makeup's going to explode, that is a full sentence, but it still sounds like my own thoughts. But when people who I know have passed, like my stepdaughter Susan or Wayne Dyer or my mother, when they come in, I hear them in their voice, but it's still subjective. It's not like it's out in the room.
Yeah, boy, fantastic. Wayne Dyer, as people know that are familiar with HumanityStream, with his 2 youngest daughters, Sage and Serena, and then Karen Noe, who's another evidential medium, we created a program called Life After Death, because he's quite active on the planet now too, which is, this is where, again, why would we shut ourselves off from the non-physical realm when there's so much incredible wisdom coming in to guide us at this challenging time on the earth? Okay, so let me share just of some other programs that are coming with Suzanne so people are aware. We talked about Friday, Spiritual Leadership Awards, Saturday for 6 days, Global Oneness Summit. On December 12th, okay, that's a Thursday, December 12th, beginning at 11 a.m. Mountain, so that's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, we're doing our big global gathering. That's with Neil Donald Walsh, Suzanne Giesemann, Deborah Poneman, Greg Braden is going to join us live. So that's going to be pretty extraordinary. Thursday, December 12th, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Put that on your calendar. And then from Humanity's team, you'll get a little invitation to come to that. It's an hour and a half long program. Then, okay, this is really cool. We're 21 years old, but we haven't done a big global fly-in, where we bring people all in physically. So we're doing one May 8th through 10th next year. It's called Sacred Awakening Live in Colorado. So Sacred Awakening Live, May 8th through the 10th. It's in Fort Collins, Colorado. 500 people will be able to come, and we will sell that out, because when you hear this program, it's going to blow your mind. Suzanne is one of them. So and that's a Thursday through a Saturday, Saturday the 10th. The reason we're doing it then is it's the Divine Feminine is going to be massive in what this program is about, Sacred Awakening Live. And guess what's on Sunday? Mother's Day, May 11th, Mother's Day. So we intentionally put back this thing right up to Mother's Day because this is Divine Feminine. And this isn't any old stuff that we're going to talk about that, of course, we know the Divine Feminine needs to come into this world, but there's going to be incredible, massive immersion, inspiration, just all kinds of experiences. So at humanitysteam.org, you can learn more about that. You can be with Suzanne in person. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So be sure to put those things on your calendar. Okay, let's go look at the fourth clip here, Jim. And we're going to just see this fourth clip of Suzanne.
So if you just observe what arises when you spend 3 minutes to sit in peace, what's left when the thoughts pass? The peace. And what you're doing is training yourself then to have more space between the stuff that arises. And when I say stuff, this is something you can read about in this book, in The Awakened Way. Stuff is another acronym, STF. And it stands for the sensations, thoughts, and feelings that make up all experiences. That's all everything we experience is made of. So you sit in meditation and you notice what arises. Well, there's a thought. Ooh, there's a feeling. Oh, there's a sensation. And that's all it is. And you become curious about these things and you notice you're detached from it. And you realize you're not the experience, you're the observer of it. Now, when a loved one tries to get through to you, you've created space because it's not constant monkey mind. And they can put a thought in your head, or put a sensation in awareness, or give you a feeling, and it stands out from your normal stuff. This is the key. What stands out now that you're looking? The 3 E's that I talk about in Living the Awakened Way are educate yourself about the greater reality, then experience it for yourself, and then engage higher consciousness for yourself. So all the speakers here this weekend, we can talk and you're educating yourself, and that's awesome. But take tools to experience for yourself, and that's what the Sip of the Divine does. And then when something arises in awareness, you engage it. Who is this? Why did you just put that thought in my mind? Am I making this up? You engage, and next thing you know, you're having a conversation, an adventure in consciousness.
Okay, the 3 E's, good. Educate, embody, and engage. Wow, huge. More stuff for the refrigerator here, Suzanne. Okay, let me, so here's a few more questions right here in the studio, the green room. So Carol says, did Suzanne have a loving, was she raised in an environment, family, where it was a loving frequency before she started connecting? So that's one of the questions she has, just wanting to know a little more about your past, Suzanne.
It was loving. We knew we were loved, but my parents didn't know how to nurture. And we also weren't allowed to express anything less than positive emotions. So I spent my childhood stuffing down feelings of sadness or anger. We sure weren't allowed to be angry. And that has been a big part of my path, to notice when that starts to arise and not resist it and allow it to come out in a healthy way, so that it's no longer blocking my flow of consciousness. And that has made all the difference in learning to connect across the veil. So I'm actually grateful for the challenges that I had growing up. It wasn't perfect, but there definitely was love, and I'm very grateful for that.
Fantastic. Yes, the home that hopefully all of us grew up in, where we, that's the greatest gift, feeling loved, isn't it? So then the other question, is there an order or a hierarchy that we should try to connect when we're starting, e.g. loved ones before angels, angels before archangels, wanting to know if there's some hierarchy as we're going across the veil?
There is not, because as I check in here real quick to make sure I get this right. Right. The higher that we go, the higher beings can connect with us quite easily. So they will help you. But the best intention you can set at any time is, whoever I connect with in this moment, may it be in my greatest and highest good in this moment. You don't have to word it lofty like that, but just trust that you're going to connect with whatever is best for you right here, right now. And you can have your own intention, though. Like, I want to connect with my husband or my child who passed, or my sister or my mother. You can specify that, but how about adding and whoever is in my greatest good?
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Wow. So there's so much more. So we've given everybody a little taste here, though, of this work that Suzanne's doing. This book, The Awakened Way, Making the Shift to a Divinely Guided Life. We've got it, all of us in Humanities Team. Such an incredible book, and there's an ebook coming out. Do you want to, or Audible? Do you want to talk about that, Suzanne?
Well, all of my most recent books are on Audible. The mediumship one is going to be the only one that I have not narrated myself. There simply isn't time. That will be coming out in Audible. But the HemiSync recordings, speaking of recordings, are filled with binaural beats to help you drop into an expanded state faster. So people can find those on my website as well. They are like training wheels for meditation, and all of the scripts that I speak were actually downloaded from my spirit guides, so they have a higher vibration to begin with.
And be sure to check out this Suzanne Giesemann collection on HumanityStream. Again, there are 7 programs now. This brand new program just came in, so people probably haven't seen that one, Connect with Spirit. And these others, masterclasses, transformational education programs, they're extraordinary. And just here in these last minutes, I just want to share, Suzanne, it's been so wonderful partnering with you. We have the same North Star, I'll call it. There's this, it's this moment where really awakening is so important. This, what you call the awakened way, conscious living. Where we understand that this Darwinian thing most of us grew up with, a boy's survival, everybody else is getting theirs, I'm going to go get mine, just sort of tunnel vision and going after a particular destination, which is how most of us grew up. I was earlier in my career in Silicon Valley, that's kind of how it's done, or, in the Western way. And we just run right past all of what's important in our life when we do that, in that tunnel vision, and where we come back into the journey, that it's actually not the destination. Yes, nice to have a destination, but it's the flow. It's this moment. It's this way of living that is the real. Boy, that's the real thing. The real delicious, exquisite life. And then we're helpful to people around us because we understand we are all one. Huh, Suzanne?
Well, and that's why I just love, as you said, partnering with Humanities Team, because the Awaken Way teachings and what you are doing are 100% aligned. It's the same message, just different ways of saying it. I provide a lot of tools and practices, but you provide this educational platform that is unparalleled, and your website is so full of good, valuable information for the education piece of the 3 E's. So just very proud and honored to be on this journey with your team and with Humanity's team in general.
And back at you, yeah, you and your growing team, now with a chief of staff and stuff too. Stephanie in Kentucky, hooray, in case she's watching. Okay, well, so this is just the end of today's program, but tomorrow night, Suzanne arrives in Boulder here. We're taking her to dinner in downtown Boulder, and then Friday, boy, 3 o'clock Mountain, 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern. Tune in to the live stream. You want to be there for this Spiritual Leadership Award, our 13th time we've given it, and to somebody so worthy, Suzanne Giesemann. So join us on Friday, day after tomorrow. We're back live with you. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, viewers, for being here and for living this in this awakened way, you know, in this conscious living, which is so important in today's world, where we start to remedy, you know, the challenges there, where we feel like we're alone, and where we are looking at the weather and war and all of these things and saying, can't anything being done? Yes, something can be done. We can all live into this. This is what we're talking about here now. And when 8 to 10% of us live that way, boom, tipping point. You know, we create this whole new way of living on the earth. So here we go. Thank you, everybody. Love and peace and blessings. Suzanne, thanks so much for being with me live, and can't wait to see you tomorrow night when you arrive here in Boulder. Take care.